It's the Deep for the Week talk show. Are you ready to talk? Let's get deep for the week.
Thanks for watching the Deep for the Week show. I am your host, Kali, and we have our co-host today with us, Crystal. How you doing today, girl?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time. I love to see you. We're about to get deep this week. Today's topic is gun violence. We will have possibly two other guests to join us a little bit later. But let's get started on how gun violence affected us, and do we think those effects should change the gun laws? So let's get deep and let's talk about some of those things. I am from LA, so gun violence is a big thing there, along with gang violence, and it's kind of desensitizing after a certain age. So the first time I was ever affected by gun violence, it was actually on my birthday. I was a teenager. My brother, he's like my favorite guy because he's like also my dad because, I had an absent father. So he was shot on my birthday, and that was the first time I experienced. He was only shot in the arm, but when you get that call, you don't know where the hell they got shot at.
That's right.
So you're like, what? So that was my first. You hear about a lot of people getting shot, but it don't really affect you too until somebody that you really,
It's like hitting home. When you hit
Yeah.
home, that's when
That's
it
how you know
really-
how everybody else feel.
You really be sad, but when they get close to you, that's when you're like,
Yeah. And then it got a little closer because, years later, my first year here in Detroit, actually, his son got shot and he didn't make it through. So, and it was a crazy story because, the world is very small. So my best friend, which I was always babysitting my nephew and my brother's children because I was like, the younger auntie that didn't have nowhere to go. So everybody always brought their kids to me. So my best friend, remember seeing him as a kid. You change, but you don't change that much. So they're at the club now that night. And my best friend from like 7th grade is like, you look so familiar. Do I know you? And then he like, where are you from? And he tells her where she's from, and they exchange that. And he like, well, do you know my dad? Because his dad is a rep where we from. My brother is, what they call a OG where we're from. And so she's like, who's your dad? So she throw out the name, and she's like, yeah, that's my best friend's brother. And so he's like, oh, okay, I remember you now. You are so and so. And she starts telling him stories about him. Your auntie used to bring you to my house. Da, da, da. So later on that night, I guess his group of friends that he was with got into it with these guys. And he didn't even know. Like, he was outside smoking. And when he came back in, like, that had already happened, them getting into it. So one of their group members went out and got their gun and shot him while he was out smoking. Or that's from what I'm thinking. And my friend from 8th grade that just seen him again for the first time in like 15 years since he's been grown, she's running out because they hear the shots in the glass and all the shit. And she sees my nephew on the ground that she just hugged, like, oh, hey. So she like, and her husband is like, stopped. And she's like telling him to come on. Well, her husband sees my nephew on the ground. And she like, come on. And she was like, that's the guy you just was hugging. That's your, So then they stop and pick up my nephew, put him in her back seat, and try to rush him to the hospital. And they see like ambulance on the side of the road. So they flag the ambulance down, stop the ambulance. And then that's when the ambulance pulled over and tried to help him. And she was like, she told me all the stuff that was going on in the back seat. And I'm just like, whoa, because he got shot in the neck. So pretty much every time he took a breath, it was like, so I was like, whoa, okay. So my best friend experienced that. And, she had to be the one to call, to tell us what happened. Like one, firsthand, and, where he was at, where he was being taken, so on and so forth. So that's how it really affected me, because I was actually here in Detroit, being a huge introvert. I didn't even tell them my new number type shit. Like, so they had to call me on Facebook, and my Facebook Messenger kept blowing up. I'm like, and I'm painting my upstairs attic because I'm like, this is my new house. I'm here, fuck California, And I get this key. I'm like, I finally answer, and it's her like telling me this story, and I'm just like, what? And so, that's how it affected me because I had to see my brother cry for the first time, which was like very awkward because that's like my hero type father figure, like the nigga I think that can't nobody fuck with. You know?
And when you see a guy that you think a really, really tough guy in your eyes and you grew up and you see them cry like that, you know it's close.
Yeah.
You know it's near home.
Yeah, it was different.
Because
it was an awkward feeling, And so that was my experience with gun violence. And I can't even tell you that I cried because I don't know how I just kind of, I don't know how I dealt with it, but I got to work, I start calling, because I'm the person that talked to everybody, and I'm like the person that's resourceful in my family. So I got to calling the pastor and calling this person and doing what I could do on my part. And I never really did cry. I just kind of hugged everybody else that, picked people off the ground at the funeral. I was that person.
You was that strong.
I was like the usher.
The strong bone.
And so
you're the strong bone, then wait and get by yourself, and that was your breakdown then. But to get by yourself sometimes, that's how it happened.
So that is my experience. I mean, I know so many other people that have lost their, it's crazy how many people I know. It's unreal the numbers of people now that I can say have lost children. I know women that have lost 2 children. You know what I mean? It's like, what the? So it's a big issue, but is the issue so strong that
it shouldn't?
That it shouldn't be, but is it an issue that we think that we can change with the gun laws being stronger, or do you think it has anything to do with the gun laws?
I don't think it has nothing to do with the gun law because you can get a gun on the street any time of the day. Money talk. So
the gun laws,
I don't think the gun law have anything to do with it because people was able to get guns before you can get a permit for this and you can do that. No, I don't think that's really affecting it. It's the community and the people in it.
Yeah.
They have to change. Not the gun laws. It's the people.
The people that have the guns. Because I know, some people that will never think to shoot a person unless they have to for protection. So I personally think that it is more so the mentality of certain people that carry guns and not the law, So, well, I guess that goes hand in hand. Like, do you think that the laws should kind of screen people a little better, and do better with keeping them off the street, because I guess as well, that's how they get on the street, selling them to the wrong people, and then they sell them.
Screen, you could get a person with a good criminal history background. Screen. That person can be going to the gun store getting guns for other people. So that can screen. You can screen that person.
That's pretty much what happens.
And you can do all that.
That's pretty much what happens.
It's ways.
It's pretty much what happens. I mean,
I've seen it done plenty of times.
That's pretty much how it is done.
The person has no record. Bam.
So is the gun laws pointless to go through and have people voting and making and doing all this stuff because
I feel like it's a waste of time.
Still have people like that are going to just go over it.
I feel like it's a waste of time. Definitely, I do feel like it's a waste of time.
And you guys will see that. But so introduce yourself. What's your name? Where you from? Tell us, people.
Hey, what's up? I'm Crystal. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. What's up, Detroit?
What's up, Detroit? I love Detroit.
Okay, this gun violence. This topic. All right. I think people better get the tissue together. Nah.
Yeah, I got my drink.
We're gonna be we gonna be all right with this one, but okay, I'm gonna start right. Okay. Year 2017. I'm gonna start there. Well, no, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, raised in Flint, Michigan. I moved back to Detroit. That's where I've been. I raised my kids to be athletes, very into sports, all A's and B's, honor roll, everything. Uh, I eat, I slept, sports. If it wasn't football, it was basketball. If it wasn't this, that, we on the go. But okay, make a long story short. Okay, let's get into it deep. Year 2017, I lost 3 people, and 2 of those people was gun violence, and they were very young. At that age, at that point, one was 17, and one had just turned 19. And the one who just turned 19 was my son. My son, very popular, bright boy. I call him my color eye bandit. Graduated with a 3.6. Good boy. Never in trouble. I mean, boy's gonna be in trouble. He like to fight, do different little stuff, but
Just
nothing,
boy mammal stuff.
nothing
Just
ever
little
major.
puppy boy stuff,
Nothing major that I never thought I'd get that call.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rewind before I tell y'all about that call. 5 months before that call, I got a call. My little cousin got shot in the back. He's 17. The guy, 26, 27, almost 10 more years older than him.
Wow.
Shot him in the back, killed him. Well, reason why I'm telling this story is the guns and everything. Well, he was only 17. So we got the call, Go to the funeral. I never seen my son cry like this a day in my life. My son was 16. He was 17. They the same age. Anyway, can't get the numbers together right now. But anyway, I'm going to take a sip of water. But I never seen my son cry that bad to see his cousin. They were very close. They grew up together. Everything. He lived in Jackson. We lived in Detroit. His dad stayed down here in Detroit with us. So every time he came, his dad would try to get him, every other weekend, every weekend or the whole summer. His dad, which he'll tell me, oh, he'll come spend the night with me one day, but he there with you the whole summer. He was like, he used me to get to you. But okay, yeah, that was the gun violence with him. 5 months later, my son graduate high school, prom, does that. He's traveling. He going state to state. He has scholarships for a ride every college there was. He had been gone. He had just came back from Ohio. He went to work out at a college up there, a little D2, D3 college campus. They pay for him to come the weekend. And he called me, said, I'm on my way home, but I lost my ID, so I'm going to need to go to Secretary of State tomorrow, but I'm coming home to spend the night with you. And I'm going to need my birth certificate and proof, for him to get his, able for him to get on the plane. So what happened with that is, he came to the house. He had just got back from Ohio that night training. He's like, I leave tomorrow. So he came over to the house that night. He said, I'll be back to spend the night with you, Mom, because I hadn't seen them in like 3 or 4 days. But, we talk every day, a couple times a day. That was my rock. That was my first boy.
And boys it's different. You be close to them boys. And girls, we love you too, babe.
Yes, I do.
That relationship,
that's my first. My daughter's my first love, but
it hit different.
It's a different love, and you love your kids the same. Don't get me wrong. Mine is always. But
your sons love you different. That's what it is. So
what I'm gonna say is, back to that is, okay. He came over that day. I had his birth certificate. I had his social security card. I had his little school proof of, they wanted 3 pieces of. So I had everything together. Him kept a little extra. I put it in a little envelope. Mom, you just got to be extra and everything. But I said, you bring this back to me so I can keep this for you. He said, I know, Mom, because I keep all my kids' stuff, birth certificates, everything.
That's a black mom
I
thing.
will get you a copy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm one of them mothers. But you see,
That's
he
a
had
black
the
mom thing. You ain't getting. You better go get your own.
Well, let me tell you something.
I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know if white people do that, but your black mamas do not give us our birth certificate. You're not getting it.
Listen, I give it to him. You want a copy?
You can use it. Bring it back when you're done with
Hey,
your
go
appointment.
copy this. Copyright it. That's all. You can put your signature on it, but you better bring it back.
That's fine. I birthed you. That's fine.
Yeah. But I got all that stuff. I keep everything. So I said, bring it all back so I can have everything because he was so signed up for colleges and, so I had his paper stacks of, when he needed, when these agents came to me and different,
ready.
I was ready. So, which I got another little boy. He was in school. So that morning he came and got everything. He said, Mom, I'll be back. I'm coming to spend a night with you before I leave because I'm going to be gone the whole week. So I'm going to come spend a night with you because we ain't got ready. We ain't kicked it. Me and my kids are close. I grew up with my kids. Mm-hmm. Now my oldest is fucking almost 30, so I said, okay. I said, you make sure before you go and hang out back with your friends while you home, you bring all this back. When I was there, my cousin, I left. I said, well, I said, what time you coming? He said, well, I'm going to drop this off before I go hang out with my friends. He excited. He back in town. He been gone, practicing and working out with his basketball team. So he brought it back. He told my cousin, he's like, here, get this to my mom. He said, tell my mom I'll be back tonight, later on tonight, to spend a night with her. And he said, tell her, and I brought it back, because I was going to talk stuff if he didn't bring it back. So he brought it back. I was gone when he brought it back. I regret that I was gone when he got it back. Not that I was hanging out. Not that I was at work. I was going to get his brother from school. Running, doing my regular runs every day. Duties, my mommy duties. So he brought that back. Well, I know he out hanging with his friends all day. So I'm getting ready to work. I got my bag in my hand, but me and a couple of my cousins, then we hanging out. I had put a couple things on our grill before I went to work. I was kind of a little brat. I go to work at the end. I push it to the limit. And I get there like 10 o'clock before you can't come to work.
Come in a good mood.
Yeah. So, I was all, okay, I'm getting ready to prepare. Got my bag on my shoulder. Phone ring. My little cousin called me. Well, I named my son when he was a baby. I used to call him Fat Man. But when he got older, he told me, I ain't no baby no more, Ma. Take the fat off. You call me man. Because I am the man. I said, okay. So that went on with him. We called him man his whole life. She says, is man all right? And some of my family still called him Fat Man. I said, what you mean? She paused. And when she paused, my other line is clicking. It's my other little cousin. I click over. Have you heard anything from me? I said, hold on. I click back over to my other little cousin. I said, what's going on, Tink? She said, I heard Fat Man got shot. I said, oh, nah. You didn't hear that. Drop my bag. I'm on my way out the door to go to work. I'm already pushing 11. It's 9:45. I got to be to work by 10. I already know I stay close, so I'm finna go so fast to go to work. Drop my bag. I said, y'all gotta be kidding me. This never in a million years. I never thought I'd get that call like that.
Never. I never. That's just not something you think you're gonna go through. You hear about it. You console other people.
So I'm panicking. I'm panicking. Okay, get myself together. I'm calling all the hospitals. All the hospitals. Calling his friends' phones. They not answering. I don't know who he be with. But who he be with was with him.
So that's who they're finding this out through, the person that he was with.
One of the persons he was with.
Okay.
So that's who they getting the information with. See, one of my cousins that called me, she hangs around them too.
Okay.
So they call her. So that's high elevated. So I'm at this point where I'm calling every hospital. I'm looking for them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm finna go to every hospital in Detroit.
And it is a lot.
And it's a lot. I finally found out where he was at. And I get there. Hospital, the doctor, the nurse. Them tell me, oh, you all right, everything okay. But I know when they put you in that room and they close you off in that room, everything ain't fucking all right, bro. Quit fucking lying to me. You get surgery, do what y'all gotta do to keep him alive. So I'm sitting there. His dad is an hour away out of town, hour and a half away. So they didn't want to tell me without him being there. Because I kept telling him his dad on the way. They was like, where his dad at? So I'm saying he on the way. So his dad had to drive there to get there.
And they didn't want you to tell him why he was driving too, probably.
So waiting up in this fucking room, I'm closed in, all this time. They basically, in my eyes, railroading me and telling me that my child is alive because I kept asking them, is he okay? Can I see him? I thought he was in surgery. The whole time when I got there, my son was dead when I got there. This whole time, this doctor, this nurse, we doing what we can. This. So I'm thinking he okay.
No, they didn't play like that.
So his dad get there. I see 2 doctors. I see another doctor. So about 5 doctors come in. They locked us in. Well, not locked us in, closed us up in this little room. Yeah, this doctor, they're supposed to try to save him. This doctor. So I said, tell me he okay. Then he make it through the surgery, They say, no, ma'am, he's dead. And we need you to go and identify his body. I'm like, no. He's not dead. My son going to Arizona tomorrow to play basketball to train for Arizona State. No, he's not dead. He's not dead. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. It'll be 7 years this year. A couple more months. It still feel like yesterday. So, I identified his body. Yes, it was my son. He got robbed and shot. That same night, the people that did that came back and burnt the house down.
To try to get rid of the evidence.
You gotta look at it as my kids. I can't say perfect kids, but good kids.
I personally know all 3 of your kids, and they are great kids. They have a lot of integrity, morality. They stick up for what's right. They're kids, like any other kids. They follow the trends. They like to dress cute, but they pride themselves in doing good things, getting jobs, getting their first cars, going to school. And so to see, that happen is crazy,
I was in disbelief. I just couldn't believe it. So To top that, that's one time I had to identify his body. They called me the next day because they took him after I identified him at the hospital. They took him over to the morgue. One day. Call me again. I gotta go identify him again. I said, y'all taking me through this torture again?
And what was the need for that, if I may ask?
Because it was a homicide.
So that's what mothers that experience that have to go through.
I don't know all mothers have, but yeah. I had to identify my son 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
Once at the hospital and twice at the morgue.
I mean, like, can you just give me a call? Like, I know, you know what I'm saying?
No.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Previously, like I said, 5 months before I lost my son, I lost my little cousin. And my little cousin, dad, which is my cousin, like, you got that boy cousin that's your best friend. He died 5 months later after my son. And check this out. My little cousin, I call it the 555. They all died 5 months apart. His son died 5, and then my son died 5 months, and he died 5 months from my son.
They say 3, but you got 5. You got it in the 5 sequence, and whew, that was rough. And I thank you for sharing that with us. And
I want to say this. I tried to blame myself, and then I through the years I blamed myself. But I was a good mother. I did everything I could. I worked my ass off.
You are a great mother. You work every day to get whatever they needed for prom, basketball tournaments. I mean, I seen it, by yourself. So you can't control other people.
People
it's
say,
not your fault.
It get better through the years. No, it don't. It hurt the same. Have you ever lost your child? When people tell me that,
I can't imagine.
I know certain people ain't, trying to hurt my feelings or nothing like that, or say, but it doesn't get better. If you never experienced it, if you don't know, it doesn't get better. It's every day. You can wake up happy one day. Okay. It's not on your mind. You can be right that day. You happy, everything all good. You hear a song, you bust in tears. Or you could, at first, my kids play sports their whole life. And I kept my boys out the streets their whole life. It was, even though I grew up in the hood and I grew up in, that era, I tried to keep them out of that era and keep them going. So that was one of the parts where, a mother questioned herself, what did I do wrong? What did I didn't do? Was it an error in there? Because he could have been somewhere else, or I could have been somewhere else and had him with me. And it's might have. You question yourself all around this. When you know you a good mother and you know you done did the best you can, it's still questionable. Why? Why did this happen to my child? Okay, yeah. There was other people there. It was about 9 other people there. Out of the 9 people, mine was the only one got killed.
Was other people shot on the scene?
And no.
That's crazy.
So they were in there gambling.
And that's what kids do with those video games. And it shouldn't turn into that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what makes a kid go from playing video games to doing that?
And that's why all them was over there. Okay.
Yeah, good. Thanks for sharing that. That is a situation that, like I now one thing I say that seeing so many mothers and fathers go through it, like my brother, he's a father, and I have other female friends that have lost their children as well. Best friends that have lost their brothers. It's like, I don't believe there's a time limit on grieving. So as long as it needs to take, go ahead and do.
Well, for a minute, I didn't give myself time to grieve because I had other kids that I had to take care of and had to make shit happen. I had to, Him being off work for a couple months, I never gave myself no time to grieve. Them couple months I was off, I was worried. What's, even though I had money saved up and I had money put up, you know, it's still the worry because I'm used to working. I'm used to be the provider. And at this point right now, I can't move. I can't do nothing because I can't sit here and have no conversation with you to make no money right now. My mind ain't there. I can't sit and be nice and then have,
Yeah, and so gun violence it's a domino effect in our communities because it affects mothers, like, and it leads you into depression. You have other kids to take up. It's a domino effect. So that was the question I was going to have for you is how many people that you think one death affects? And it's hundreds, I'm sure.
Yes. It is.
Yeah.
It is because, my other kids, they have their days. And I watch them because I raised my kids to be close. And I taught them no matter what, all y'all got. I see the effects in my other kids. They have their days. They flip out. They not in a good mood. They mean. They pissed off. It's like they pissed off at the world. They want to go at it with somebody. And, and I have to tell them, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Just chill. You know what I'm saying? But I had to sit back and understand.
They don't know how to deal with feelings like, we do. We're,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, amongst our community, like in LA, not so much here in Detroit. They do it. It's on a different level. Their drive-bys, like here in Detroit, they kind of know who they're going for. In LA, it can be random. Like you see somebody driving by, you're a Crip, you see people wearing red, they'll just shoot the whole crowd up just because they're wearing red.
Hey.
So, I bring that up to say, like, Black people, they always like to point fingers. Like when we go to the gun law issues, they like to say, well, we don't do that type of stuff. We don't go shooting up schools and we don't go. But I don't see no difference when you shooting up a block party and there's kids in 16, 17. You know what I'm saying? It's
ain't
about
no
the
difference.
fucking same.
It ain't no difference.
And so, when they talk about gun laws, they're like, oh, they ain't making that for us. They making it up for the motherfuckers shooting school or Sandy or, the people that shot up that movie theater, Black people. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, we do, Yeah, we do. And so, but I don't, like you said, I don't think it can be controlled by a piece of paper, because if that's the case, then it wouldn't be happening. I mean, because the piece of paper will be also controlling the fact that when you do this, there's a piece of paper that say you're going to go to jail forever. I'm kind of up and down the gun laws, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, some people shouldn't have them. They're crazy as fuck. But then you have and that's why I feel like I need them, because of the crazy as fuck people. So we have a guest. This is another one of our guests that I have mentioned a little bit earlier.
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Davian.
Hi, Davian.
Hi, Davian. I'm Crystal.
Hi, Crystal. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm listening to your conversation. I can hear the audio now. For a while, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining us.
How you guys doing tonight?
Today we are great. We were just discussing. Crystal just got through sharing her story about how gun violence affected her life. I'll go over a little bit with you. She has lost her son to gun violence and a nephew, and she was just discussing how she felt about that and how it affects more than just one person, how it affects hundreds of people. But we're also discussing, like, with those effects, do we feel like people should vote to change the gun laws so that they should be increased to, should it be harder to get a gun?
Mm-hmm.
And we left off as like, with that being said, it's like, I don't know, because it's like, I also feel like, shouldn't we be able to protect ourselves from people that do these things? So it's like, it's a catch-22, So introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, how old you are, a little bit about yourself, and how gun violence has affected you, if you feel comfortable.
Absolutely. First off, I would like to say condolences. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a child. I'm a father of two myself.
Thank you.
I've lost many family members, due to this. And I just want to send my, for real, deepest condolences. My name is Davian Graham. I'm 33 years old. I live in California. I live in Irvine currently, but I grew up in Duarte in Morovia, California.
It's a beautiful place. It's so just...
I never been there.
Right up in the mountains.
Yeah,
right up in the mountains.
One day.
It's so gorgeous.
We're
You
gonna
go
be real
hiking,
light one day, so we'll be
Yeah, I'm
there.
gonna take her. She's gonna love it.
right? You're gonna love it. You're gonna see a bear.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
all them
yeah.
bears
Go to
been
the
out
mall.
there acting up.
She
I
done
mean, they
already
just
told
breaking in
telling
and
me.
getting food out the kitchen. I said, they
The
gonna love
Oreo
it.
bears, right? Got to keep them doors locked. But yeah, my name is
Yeah.
Davian. At the age of 16, I was working at a church a church I attended in our city, and I grew up during a time back in 2008. I was 16 at the time, and in our area, there was a kind of like a little gang conflict going on between two different gangs in our community. Now, in our community, there was a predominantly Latino gang and a predominantly Black gang, right? And the how do you say the predecessors of our generation, like our parents' generation and our older brother generation, they all got along, so they all grew up together, same community. It wasn't like LA where every different street is a different gang. The gangs in our area claim the entire city. So if you're from Duarte, you claim Duarte. If you're from Morovia, you claim Morovia, and if you're Black, you claim both. It's
Yeah.
just so small that it just covered that
Okay.
area. So your neighbor could literally be like somebody from the opposite gang.
Yeah.
So, it kind of caused too much conflict. Now, it started
Yeah,
off
I
as a
know that's
gang.
a lot of conflict if your
Oh,
neighbor, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's like
So
walking on.
it started off as like just gang banging, and then it became racial.
Mm-hmm.
So it just spun out of control. It spiraled out of control, and people who weren't gang banging or in a gang started being targeted due to their race. And as a result of that, I was targeted in front of my church. Now, I worked at a local church as a janitor on the weekends. I would clean up just to make a couple of extra dollars. I was young. It's the first job. I would ride my bike. I lived so close to the church that I could ride my bike there and back in like less than 10 minutes.
Wow.
So it was my neighborhood. I grew up there, felt super safe. I never felt worried about anything. I knew everybody, or so I thought. And then on one fateful Saturday, it was January 12th, 2008, I came home. I actually went home from the church. I cleaned up the church.
And how old you say you were?
I was 16.
Oh, okay.
So, I wasn't a grown man, but, I was still a little boy, so it was one of those transitional periods where you're experiencing everything for the first time, a little bit of freedom, but not so much. Right.
Yeah.
So I had cleaned up the church that day. I had went home, did my chores. I think I had cut the grass or something. And I had asked to go to visit a local dairy. I don't know if you remember the dairy on Peck Road.
Oh yeah.
Drive through.
Yeah.
I went through there to try to get some snacks. And on the way there, I saw this car with two people in it. At first I couldn't see who it was. And I didn't feel like they were following me. I just thought they were lost, because in that area it's easy to get lost. It's like it goes from residential to like busy streets. So as I was going towards the church that I worked at, is like adjacent from the dairy. So it's literally right across the street, but a little bit, like a few 100 yards upward. So
what church you're talking about?
Calvary Grace. So we went there. We also attended that church. So we would be there 4 times a week, my brothers and I. My family still go there, And well, not me, but my family who still lives there does, because I live in Irvine now.
Do you go sometime?
No, I haven't been in years. I haven't been since I left my hometown. I left my hometown like maybe.
Oh, so you're not there no more?
No, I moved out to Orange County. I went to college like right after this happened.
Okay.
So I haven't been. I just happened chance, So I'm going back towards the church. I get my snacks. I'm coming back. Right when I get in front of the church, the car pulls up beside me, and I'm thinking they're gonna ask me for directions, because I'm like, they must be lost. I keep seeing the same car over and over. When I look to my left, I see a dude just pointing a gun at me, like right at my face.
Right.
And he looked at me and he said something to the extent of, hey, fool. And he proceeded to say, fuck Duroc.
Oh.
Now, that's the gang. That was the Black gang in the area. It's called Duroc Crips. And, I already knew what it was once he was pointing at me, because I'm like, okay, he think I'm from Duroc. But I wasn't. I wasn't in the gang or anything. I wasn't affiliated, like, at all. I was a nerd, for real.
Black.
Yeah, just because I was Black. And he was aiming at my face. So, first thing I did was lift my arm up to try to, make sure I don't get hit in the face. And he shot me all down my side. And then I got lit up. I was trying to jump off on my bike, because I don't know if I mentioned this. I was riding my bike there, and my foot was getting caught in the pedals. And as I'm trying to get off the bike, I'm just getting shot, because we were so close. We were probably about 4 to 5 feet apart. Wow. So he wasn't gonna miss. So he was just lighting me up. And then finally, when I was able to jump off the bike, that's when I felt the bullet to the back and didn't feel my legs anymore. You know, and I knew I was paralyzed right then and there. You know, I just knew. I looked down, I seen one of my legs twisted, and I instantly knew. You know, and I watched the car slowly drive away. They didn't speed away like the movies.
Like
They were
they're
making
trying
sure
to make sure you was there.
yeah, they was looking in the mirror. So I just played dead. I just laid there and just acted like I just went lifeless. And as soon as I seen the car get in the distance, I started trying to dig in my pocket for my phone. You know, there was kids playing in the church. Our church had a basketball court in the back, right? So it was a bunch of kids outside. So one of my peers from middle school, my friend Garrett, he heard the shooting and ran out and saw me on the floor. And I was telling him, Garrett, hey man, get out of here. Like they're about to come back. They're about to come back and, you know, do what they got to do. They're going to make sure I'm dead. And I was like, you know, he was like, no, I'm not going to leave you. I was like, well, pull me behind the wall. You know what I mean? Make it look like I got up and left at least. He was like, no, I can't touch you, which was the wisest thing he could have ever said, because I probably would have died from being drugged, you know? And I laid there. Before Garrett came out, let me slow this down. I'm moving too fast. Before Garrett came out, there were cars passing by, right? So people saw it happen. I even saw somebody that attended my church pass by, and I don't even know if they thought, I don't even think they knew it was me at the time, but they didn't want to get involved. So that tells you how afraid some of the residents were, right? So finally, Garrett, he sees me. He says, I'm going to go push the kids back real quick, because there's a bunch of little kids. There's an apartments. I don't know if you remember those apartments right there. The
Right
Rivera
across,
apartments.
like they're
No, right next door to the church.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of kids there. So he was like, let me get the kids back, because he didn't want them to, you know, stir me up or make me nervous or anything. So he got them back. As he did that, a woman approached. Her name is Beth. And she's the only person that got out to help me. You know, I told her, ma'am, I don't want to die. You know, and she was headed to another church, which was at the end of the block, which is Immaculate Conception. It's that big old Catholic church that's at the end of Peck Road. She was headed there on her way there, and she just happened to see me and got out. And I told her, ma'am, I don't want to die by myself. And I think by me saying, ma'am, it showed her, okay, this is not, this kid has manners.
Yeah.
You know, this is a kid. So, you know, she stayed with me. And I remember just looking down and seeing like blood just filling up my whole shirt, blood on the floor, just bleeding, you know, just trying to stay awake. And then I remember my uncle, who was like my father. He's resting in peace at the moment. He hopped out the car, and I remember he was so afraid and so shocked that I had got shot that the car kept going and hit the stop sign a little bit. And one of the neighbors had to go and kind of fix the car because he was freaking out. He's like a father to me. He raised me. So I remember seeing him just jumping up and down, kind of like panicking. And then he came to my aid, and I just remember starting to pass out. And I remember him slapping my face, just saying, Day. I actually have a song that I recorded with the audio from the police call, where I'm on the floor. You can hear me say I can't feel my legs and everything. And they were trying to keep me awake, trying to keep me alive, trying to keep me just focused on them. So I was trying to focus on their voices because I could feel myself slipping away. You know, I had never felt that tired before. I felt like I was just falling asleep. Like my eyes felt extremely heavy, and I knew, I'm like, okay, if these eyes shut, it's over. It's a wrap. I could tell by all the blood that like I wasn't okay. You know, I knew I wasn't okay. And I remember just being slapped. I remember everybody just trying to keep me awake, and I remember them giving me water. I threw up. You know, just because you know, nobody at the time knew what was wrong with me, so they didn't know no better. But that water kept me alive until the paramedics came. And yeah, and you know that part of the Warding and Morovia, once you pass a certain area, it's unincorporated LA County. So I had to wait for Temple City, all of their squads to come. Yeah, so that was like 2 cities away. Yeah, so I'm sitting there dying.
Well,
you know, I had a collapsed lung. I found out later. So one of the bullets collapsed my lung. So I literally was choking on my own blood, choking on, you know, whatever fluids, couldn't breathe at all. So, you know, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong on my chest. I just didn't want to think about it. So I just kept thinking, okay, breathe in your nose, out your mouth. Breathe in your nose, out your mouth. I always learned that as a kid from sports and my mom being a nurse, you know, or a CNA. So I would learn breathe in your nose, out your mouth. So I kept trying to do that. And I really think that helped me regulate and not panic, you know, because I could feel the shock. Like, I could literally feel, okay, I'm in shock. But I didn't know the exact terminology. But
you are literally your own hero, because literally, I mean, usually that it's other people telling you that, like, breathe. And, you know, that's what I was telling her, like with my nephew that was shot, and my best friend happened to try to save his life. You know, she had to get him, and, you know, that's what she was telling him to do. And it's like, you did that for yourself as a kid. I can only imagine. That's
it's just, I'll sum it up to God or whatever's out there.
Oh,
You know,
you
because like
you definitely
I
know
saw
there's something, right?
some whatever's out there told me that, you know, because I wasn't in my right mind. I was trying not to panic. I knew not to panic because I know if you panic, you die. I knew that since an early age. You know,
Mhm.
I seen other people get hurt. You know what I mean? So
See,
it was
yeah, they say you
I,
panic every day, but you got to think about like with my son's situation, he was having an asthma
So
attack
he
at the
was panicking.
same
He was
time. So
panicking.
he
yeah, he
was
couldn't help it.
panicking. He couldn't help but to
He couldn't
panic.
help it. Yeah, yeah. When you're
You
losing your
know,
air,
yeah.
come on,
So at the
you know,
same time, he's shot, but he's having an asthma attack with it.
Yeah,
I
that's
You
can't
a
know,
believe it.
lot.
so
I can't imagine. I can't imagine how
yeah.
he felt. You know,
Mm.
that's such a tragic thing. You know,
Yeah.
I can't believe that people could do that without
Any
actually thinking about
remorse?
what
Yeah.
any remorse. You know, you're shooting projectiles into people that's speeding at what? I don't even know how many miles per hour, but enough to just destroy you. It
You
destroys
don't
our ligaments,
know
our
these
muscles.
people, you know.
Yeah, and
No.
it's crazy because the boy who set the house up, see, it's been 6 years now. The boy who set the house up, he got caught. And one of the
Mm.
guys that he was trying to get to help him, which supposed to have been there, but make a long story short is he got 17 and 30 years for setting
Mm,
the house up to be robbed. We don't have, they say it's possibility is two more people that they looking for. I call homicide. I do the checks in every now and then. I haven't did it in a long time because sometimes it make your heart hurt when
It's
yeah.
like reliving it over and
there's
over.
no leads and it's pretty much you think they done threw your child case
Mhm.
up under the table and then you see them. You don't want to be this person that be like, oh shit, like
Bugging them.
damn, why is my kid was the only
Mhm.
kid? You know what I'm saying? Y'all done found this kid killer and this person killer. Why? Why? What's the problem? Like, well, y'all just didn't.
Did they find the guys that did that to you?
Yeah, the guy who shot me actually went to middle school with them. He didn't recognize me because he was a few years older than me, so I recognized him.
Are
But I'm
you
a lot taller.
serious?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
recognized him as he was doing it or like during
Right,
trial?
right. As soon as I seen his face, I knew who he
Oh
was,
my
and I was
God.
shocked because I'm like, you know me, you know I don't game bang. He like, you know, but I guess my
You had
height because I had grown a lot from middle school. You know, I'm
Yeah,
above like I'm
that's
like
a
6'2",
humble.
6'1", so
okay.
like I look like a grown man at that age. You know,
Mm.
Right.
so to him, I don't think he even recognized who I was. He just saw black
Yeah,
and just
and at that
assumed
time
who I was.
that was the agenda. Like there was a war between it wasn't just it was Mexicans against blacks in our city at the time. It was horrible. Girls were
Yeah,
even getting shot. How do you feel about gun laws? With that happening to you, do you feel that they should be increased or
I feel that it's too late. I feel that there's too many
Thank
guns
you.
floating around.
Thank
I feel
you.
that
And
growing up
basically,
where we,
that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. If you look at the UK, they have strict gun laws, but we're getting stabbed left and right with big old knives and swords.
mm.
Their stabbings there are
So
ridiculous, and they
they need
don't.
knife
So,
laws.
so the problem is violence. My uncle that raised me, he's like my dad. My uncle Terry.
Oh,
He
Yeah.
I peace
he
too.
how do I say this? When he was shot more than 20 times. He
What?
was
Woo!
murdered. He was murdered like maybe, and I hate to say this on here because I don't know if our family gonna look or whatnot, but they know this. So I always wonder, like, what were they using?
Yeah, that's
We're
what
in
I.
California.
Yeah, I
We're
didn't
in
know it was 10
California.
times. That's
It was
crazy.
that's what I was told. I don't know
What
if that's
year was
personal.
that?
That's a
This was
while ago.
2020, 2021, 2022,
Oh
like a few
yeah.
years back.
Oh, that
So
wasn't too far
when I
ago.
heard what happened to him, it messed me up completely because that was my dad. That was the only father figure I had in my life. And when he was murdered, it took a toll on me. You know what I mean? Because I saw him be shot before a
Mm-hmm.
year before I was shot, he was shot.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Right on our block, like
Mm-hmm.
right in our area, behind the same kind of thing, just racial. And he tried his best to keep us away from that. He tried his best to really instill the reason I am who I am today is because I had an example of what not to be. He made me feel that way. He
He was
made me
a good
say,
father figure.
be a leader, don't be a follower.
That's right.
Remain a square, get your education. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with this. And
Like
Mhm.
to me,
even yep.
That's great. I'm
Keep going.
glad
I
he
don't mean
did
to
that
cut
because
but
you
you
are
off.
a great father.
when he was murdered, that like I had just had my first son because I'm not paralyzed anymore completely. I still use a wheelchair, but I have sensation. So I just can't walk.
Awesome.
You
It
That's
messed
gotta
me up.
great.
feel.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Sensation
great to
better than
hear.
none.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I still can't
definitely.
walk because it messed me up real bad. I got shot a lot.
I
So you
mean,
know what I mean.
are you able to take like little couple steps?
Yeah, on the walker, I could take some
Okay.
steps. I
Well,
was
you
never
can
supposed to.
walk. Don't say you
We
can
on our
walk.
way.
Nah, it's walking, and
No,
then
hey,
there's
you
walking,
can
and then
walk.
there's just different mechanics. You got to get your nerves back together.
Yep.
It's a lot,
Build
you
it
know,
back
because
up.
I got shot through the spine.
We were just talking about my nerves then, and then I just tell you about my feet.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're making
Thank
those
you. And
literally those steps.
I'll never forget it. But my brother called me and said, you know, hey, this happened. And I remember I was holding my son at the time.
So
And I
how many
remember just
times you
feeling,
say you got shot?
I don't even know. I don't like, because I got shot with hollow tip bullets. So it's so close
Yeah, them
that I
hollows
still
they
have bullets.
travel.
I still have bullets in my stomach right here that you could touch physically
Yep,
that have
that's like
surfaced
my
over the
cousin.
years.
He got shot with an AK and them hollow put bullets. This was way back in like 1993 or something.
They
But he
splintered.
got shot like 6 times, and they can't remove 2 of them bullets, them AK bullets, and he been suffering with
Hmm.
that for years. And sometimes he can be walking and his legs just pop out and he'll just fall, And he been going through that since like the 90s, 93.
Yep.
And they said if he have that surgery, he can be paralyzed. So he's been scared about the surgery, so he won't do the surgery at
Yeah.
all.
I had lost my left kidney. I lost my spleen. I lost a bunch of different organs after I was shot. So it wasn't just my spine. Like I lost my left kidney, my spleen. I had damage to like a little bit above my liver. Just different things like that. My intestine. So now when I have these bullets that are resurfacing in my stomach, it's coming up from there.
So you are a walking miracle.
That's what they say. I was never supposed to be able to live the life I'm living now. I was never supposed to be able to.
You're in pain. So you feel a lot of pain and an after effects from it.
How is your nerves? Your
Oh
nerves are
yeah,
shot.
because you have a lot of atrophy.
Yeah.
You have broken bones.
Yep.
Nerves are terrible. They burn all the time. They burn
Yep.
all the time. Because it went through my spine. So when you look at it through an X-ray, you can see it.
So you are doing great. Because I like I said, I'll tell the people a little bit about. He's a father of 2. He has these cute little kids. They're so cute.
Thank you.
And you're married, and so you've turned your situation around. And I'm glad to hear that you're also taking steps and stuff. So, but even like you said, with you being a victim, you don't feel changing the gun laws will do anything. And that's pretty much. I wanted to hear victims' opinions about this, because it's easy for me to say, well, I think this, or I think, or the next person,
Yeah.
but coming
And
from
we
someone
get it.
actually affected, I wanted to hear y'all's opinion, and it's definitely,
It just make you think,
yeah.
and people think, oh, because if we go on, we petition it, they would do that. Girl, do you know?
I mean,
It sounds good in theory.
yeah.
Sounds good in
Thank
theory,
you.
but
Clap for
in
that.
practice,
Make you clap once.
in practice, it's too hard because they can
Yeah.
come to you. Politicians don't know what it's like to live in the certain environments that we live in and that we
And
grow in. They don't understand that you want
Mhm.
me to put my gun down, but the people that I'm at odds with aren't going to put theirs down.
Right.
And I don't, we're supposed to be protected with this, but it's become a place of impoverished, like poverty.
Okay,
Right.
can I say
So
this?
until we fix,
Okay, keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Until we fix the money gap, until we fix the financial gaps that exist, you're going to
That's
see a lot
right.
more. People are going to
that's the
continue
word.
to use guns to take things because guns are fearful. Nobody wants to get shot. In the world we live in, all of the media it promotes violence. Every video game, every movie, all the music, everything
All the
promotes it.
rap, everything,
It's like we worship that, right? Because if you listen to something and you watch something and you just consume that in your mind,
And that
it's a
was
form
me
of
when
worship.
my son got killed. And like, he got a gamble. Your
They
mama got money.
They playing GTA, and
and
I do think some of that stuff is affecting, because like I do. So I don't. My son does not have that stuff yet, because I'm like, I don't want him. He's so sweet.
Well, the thing is,
but
and it's lifestyle, like.
There's
Well,
so
I ain't
much
gonna say lifestyle.
There's so much
And this,
influence.
I didn't mean to say it's so much. It's because you don't want to deprive them of certain things, but you don't want them expose them to certain things.
You can't hide it if you try.
Yeah.
Period.
So it's getting to the point where it's uncontrollable on the paper, and a vote is not going to do it. So I just wanted, like I said, I wanted some opinions on victims, like actual victims that are really affected every day still by this issue. And I got y'all's opinions, y'all. You're telling me
Well,
it's too
I
late.
can sit here and tell you,
you-
my girl, is like it took, and I'm gonna say this, of a mother. I've been a strong mother. I've been a mother before I had my own kids because I had to take care of my siblings. But this year been the first year out of 6 years that I can just really just open up and talk about it, see a counselor, do whatever, because I've been beating myself up for
Well, you can't, because it's not, you didn't pull the
years.
trigger, and you raise your kids very well. It's
And
to the best
and
of
you
your
still have a
ability.
question.
You
You
know,
still, what did I do wrong?
you didn't do
What?
absolutely, you didn't do anything wrong. It's the system. It's failed you and everyone that is victims of this, because they're not, like you said, even with the papers and the laws that have changed, nothing is going to change. So
It's
it's at
not.
a point of it's too late.
The
So
people
now,
gotta change.
yes,
That's not.
yeah.
It's not no laws or no signatures or the legislators or what they. It's the people.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
the mind frame of the people. And you can't say, oh, it's the bringing up. It's not the bringing up. You could be church fine and brought up great and the best kid there is.
Those are
But
usually
once
the
you let,
victims that get shot.
unless you let free, once you let free, oh, that's another person.
Thank you. I thank you guys for your feedback and your time and everything that you guys been through. I'm sorry to hear. I thank you for sharing your input, though, a lot. I mean, I think people's like your input matters more than people that are just talking about it that haven't been through it. And it will help when people get ready to vote. It's voting season soon. So, I think it would help. I think it would help to hear from people like you how we should vote.
One thing I say,
Absolutely.
go with your heart. Go what you feel. Democrat or Republican, they gonna still live the way they do, and you live the way you do, and be you. Period.
Well, there it is. We can talk about it, but we got to be a part of change. And so, Davian, I thank you for joining us and giving me your
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
and give the kids a hug. They're so cute. And tell
Yeah, I
you
will.
I said hello, and thank you for letting us grab a little bit of your husband's time for the afternoon. Tell her I said hello, beautiful. And
Hi,
I'll let her know.
beautiful.
Yeah, she just went back to the back after she let the dog out. So
just missed her. So
Well, very
Yeah.
nice to meet you. And
nice to meet you too, Crystal.
talk again and see you again.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to.
yeah, and keeping we're keeping in touch, but keep us updated on your progress and stuff.
Oh yeah, you already see I got my
Hey,
little business here that I'm starting.
Yeah,
shooting
share
for
guess
my
what?
content.
Share what's your business that you're starting. Share that with us.
And guess what? The progress is you still here.
He's got a business.
Thank you.
Starting. Share that with us. What is it about?
Absolutely. It's called Dynamo Labs, and it's dynamo like a generator. I don't know if you're familiar with the word dynamo. Like you hear people say, oh, it's a human dynamo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a processor or generator of energy, right? Mine is spelled DIY for do it yourself. So what I do is I help children, high school students build applications like mobile apps so that could boost their college applications, get them internships and early access to real world skills by developing applications without having to use code.
Yep, that's what
awesome.
my cousin doing with the foundation she did for my son. Like I said, I haven't did the time to sit down with her because she's still in Grand Rapids and I'm in Detroit. But she did this for me because at a point we go into again another talk show, but I was around her. But what the foundation said is, like you said, you experienced it, you lived through it. It's people can say, oh, it's judgment, but if you don't live through it, if you don't know it, it's you pretty much judging. If you be like, oh, this you'll be all right. It's no.
Well, when you finish getting your product and your business
I forgot
going,
what I was gonna say, but
I'm going to have a show later on, and we're going to discuss entrepreneurship, and I'm going to let people showcase their products and their businesses, and maybe you can come on, and when you're ready for that, that's going to be like
I'll bring it.
ahead, because I'm getting my other entrepreneur friends some time to work on their stuff, because it takes time.
I'll send it to you. We started on July 22nd. I'll send you my website this week. We just have to add a few more things. So once I get all the channels and everything done, I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay, awesome. I would love to see that. And again, thanks for joining us. And you've been great. Join us next week as we talk about gang
nice meeting
membership.
you.
And
nice meeting you too. Thank
we'll
you.
hopefully see you again when you have your when your website is up and everything. You're ready to share more. Again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
And are we saying a deep what up, dog?
So join us next week as we talk about gang membership. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, comment. We love to hear back from you. And again, thanks for watching, you guys. This is the Deep for the Week show.
And we out.